Oh, man, we have smack talk. We have smack talk. Heading into Saturday's Sunflower Showdown between K-State and Kansas. And actually, this year, the shoe's on the other foot. K-State brought the noise today during the press conference. The players certainly did. And I am here for it. All the way here for it. Gone is Scared John that cowered under this same desk that I sit at right now when K-State was preparing for Oklahoma. I am not going to do that this week. Not based on where Kansas is at, not based on where K-State is at, not based on how this rivalry has gone. K-State should be confident as hell going into this game. K-State should still have a chip on their shoulder. A lot of these guys in particular that did not get recruited by Kansas. Kansas is still paying a tax on their lack of in-state recruiting over the last decade. And it all came out and bubbled to the surface today during the press conference with the players, and I could not be more thrilled. Welcome into the game. John Kurtz, Mitch Fortner with you. You can tweet us at TheGameKMAN or at JL Kurtz. Two quotes really stand out to me from what we heard today. I'm going to start with Wyatt Hubert, okay, K-State's defensive end, who, I'll be honest, always has a bit of a smack-talking edge to him, even if he's not trying to have it. And sometimes, because I think he means differently than what he actually says or the way it comes out, I abstain from really putting it out there. Today, I really couldn't because this is what he had to say about Kansas.
We're the most important game on the schedule for them every single year. And when they play us, that's their Super Bowl. And they're just going out there and they're giving it all they have, and they have nothing to lose against us. So we're going to get their best shot for sure.
Now, is what he is saying wrong? No, not really. I would say, and I saw this objection from some Kansas fans, hey, there haven't been that many Kansas kids on KU's roster. They haven't treated it really like a Super Bowl all the time. I do get some level of vibe to that. Like, I think there is some element of truth to that. But in general, they do know that that's a game that can make their season if they win it. So you understand, obviously, why Wyatt Hubert said it. But by far, the best thing said today came from my man, Jeron McPherson. I mean, my dude, Jeron McPherson. He actually tried to pay a nice compliment to the Jayhawks, but did so in about the most backhanded way possible. Let me see if you can figure out what exactly I mean by this.
They have a lot of great talent individually. They are very talented individually. That's what people don't realize about them. Individually they're a great team,
So I counted 3.5 individuals there. Mitch, I don't know if you've ever left milk for too long in the refrigerator and it turns a bit yogurty and it's
who hasn't
about as thick as it can possibly get. That's as thick as Jeron McPherson just laid it on right there with that quote.
He's churning butter.
I love it.
They have a lot of great talent individually. They are very talented individually. That's what people don't realize about them. Individually they're a great team,
And the facial expressions make it too. You can go see the video on my Twitter account at JL Kurtz. But he's very much emphasizing that, yes, individually, this is a great offense. Well, the end result is the worst offense in the Big 12. So what's the missing ingredient there? This is like the old math equation. Y equals MX plus B. Shout out to Darrell Arthur. Solve for X. We have Y, M, and B. We don't have X. Well, the X here quite obviously is the coaching, okay? If you didn't get to that point, the insinuation there is the coaching sucks. And I mean, it does. Quite literally, it does. Vegas thinks that Les Miles pulls Kansas down by 1.5 points, as we found out over the weekend. The coaching is not good. Brent Dearman has not been good. I do not think he is getting the Florida State job. Nothing that Jeron McPherson said there is wrong, but yeah, typically you don't expect to hear it laid out like that by the team's opposing safety. But I have no issue with this at all. Guys, there's no reason to be scared of Kansas. There's no reason to be scared of Kansas. And even if you are operating more on a principle thing here, like on principle, all right, let's let our play do the talking. Don't do it in the press conferences. I say I welcome it because this is the spot where you would expect K-State to lack motivation. I get that it's Kansas, but it's also a team that's 0-4 in the Big 12. It's a team that you've beaten 11 times in a row. What exactly have they done this year to get your attention in any way? Last year, going into the game, yes, there was the miles to go comment, the who is K-State, that sparked a lot of extra motivation for K-State. But that was also right after Kansas had a win, piggybacked on a good performance against Texas before that in a close loss. Like, there was some actual feeling last year from dopes like me that K-State could lose the game. Like, that it was a real possibility. That's not there this year. So this team needs all the spark and inspiration and motivation that they can get. And if that means, hey, I need to bring a little bit of extra edge to the press conference, I need to bring some extra edge to the way I'm operating throughout the week, and this is how I do it, bring it on, man. Bring it on. Don't be scared. You are the bully here in this situation, and Jeron McPherson is just operating as such to give everybody some extra juice and a shot in the arm this week in a game that otherwise could be, quite frankly, very boring against Kansas. Definitely here for it, especially because it's coming from defenders. Like, the Kansas offense is lifeless, and if there's a side of the ball that you want to really be playing with that extra edge and attitude, it's the defensive side of the ball.
Yep.
You need enforcers like that, and that is what Jeron McPherson is, both in the way he plays on the field and sometimes the way he is off the field. Certainly Wyatt Hubert is absolutely that way too. He totally is, and I love that K-State has guys like that on defense, and I love that it came out to the surface in the press conference today.
And KU now without their best player in Puka Williams, which Vegas saw that as a 2.5-point difference. That's not really much in my eyes, moving it to a 19.5-point line. I don't think K-State will have an issue covering that, but let's compare the bulletin board material. Last year, Les Miles created this rah-rah speech into bulletin board material, and we ate it up. We loved it. We played it multiple times, thinking, like, what is this guy thinking? And then K-State returns the favor in their way this year, which it's just the individual players. All they did was state facts. Now, there are statistics out there that say, KU statistically says, well, yes, this is our Super Bowl. This is the biggest game of the year. It's a rivalry matchup. We don't get a chance to play in a bowl game, so this is it for us. This is our bowl game. No, there's nothing out there like that. But these days, opinions are facts. And K-State are delivering their opinions, and we all know they're true. We all know this is the biggest game of the year for KU, and K-State expects to win big. I think their inspiration for this week is not only it's a rivalry game, but I look at it this way as well. You mentioned the defense. They have played well this year, but they haven't been able, with the offense, create a blowout of any sort. We're used to K-State 1 game or 2 games in the preseason or in the non-conference schedule have a big win. A confidence builder early on in the year. Well, that didn't happen with COVID-19 shortening the season. Well, this is their opportunity, and it might be the only opportunity of the year.
Well, the way that this did manifest itself today, to me, is emblematic of if you have a pot of boiling water, and you let it sit there for too long, like the thing could boil over, right? You could have water seeping out, and I think here you just had a little bit of water seeping out because what's in play here, these guys want to win because of the obvious. It is Kansas. It is your in-state rival. But the players we talked to today were all players with either Kansas or Kansas City ties that felt like they were not recruited heavily by Kansas. They felt overlooked by Kansas in the recruiting process. So you have these guys here, like Jeron McPherson, who is an extremely confident, bordering on cocky individual, which is what you want, again, defensively, looking at this and saying, well, I just watched West Virginia fart out a C- game and still cover against Kansas last week. We thumped these guys 38-10 last year and really should have been 38-3 if not for a garbage time touchdown. We've beaten them 11 years in a row, and these bleep holes didn't recruit me. That's a lot to be bubbling under the surface there in the pot, and sometimes you're not going to contain all that or keep it all in, especially when media jabronis like us are asking you question after question. And so to me, that's, an attempt to keep it all down, but there's a little that's going to come out because that's who Jeron McPherson is. That's who Wyatt Hubert is. And that's going to provide you so much more good than bad in the long run. So there is no reason to freak out about it at all. I am here for it, even if it burns you every once in a while. some of the talk. Even if it does, I think more often than not, that attitude in general is going to help you. And for the greater good of the program and the greater good of what we all want on Saturday, I still think that is in favor of these guys acting, talking, and believing the way that they do.
So typically, how I would respond to a player saying they feel a little disrespected, they weren't recruited by KU, I'm like, okay, well, I mean, KU is they're the New York Jets. I mean, do players of their caliber really want to go to KU and play football? But I'm going to put it this way as well. Some of them probably grew up as KU fans, maybe more gravitating towards basketball. But these guys grew up at a time where KU was actually pretty good at football. So they maybe think, okay, they could be a part of a resurgence maybe. They could get back to where they were. Maybe they could make it to a big-time bowl game again because they actually grew up a part of that being their lives. But realistically, they don't have that love for KU. They don't want to play there. I don't think they're really that offended by it.
It sounded like on at least 3 of the 4, and we had 4 for 4 across the board that claimed to be slighted by Kansas in the recruiting process. I would say 3 of 4, it's pretty legit. I really would.